When 007 GoldenEye released in 1997 on the Nintendo 64, the James Bond franchise was undergoing a reinvention of its own. The Pierce Brosnan era had just begun, bringing a modern, stylish, more kinetic version of the character to a new generation. Rare's adaptation wasn't just another tie-in. It was a bold attempt to translate the excitement and style of the film into an interactive experience. And, somehow, against all odds, the developer succeeded. 007 GoldenEye became one of the most influential games of the 90s, a title so impactful that in 2022 it received its own documentary, Golden Era, about how a relatively small team at Rare accidentally created one of the most important console shooters of all time. The game also had a full remake for modern consoles in 2010 called GoldenEye Reloaded. What makes GoldenEye remarkable isn't just that it's a good movie game. It's that it established mechanics, ideas, and standards that shaped the very identity of console shooters for decades. GoldenEye's gameplay shows both the limitations and the brilliance of its era. The absence of dual-stick controls will be the largest hurdle for modern players. The N64 single analog stick makes aiming a challenge. Still, this was completely standard for the time, and Rare implemented one of the earliest forms of aim assist to compensate. Mission structure is where the game truly shines. Each level is built with impressive complexity, balancing open environments with tightly designed interior layouts. Objectives change depending on difficulty, meaning higher difficulties don't just make enemies tougher, they expand the mission itself, asking players to complete more tasks. This design philosophy was far ahead of its time. Enemy variety is strong, but their behavior can feel aggressive to a fault. Certain levels, such as the Severnaya bunker, suffer from constant enemy waves that cross the line from challenging to simply frustrating. These moments highlight a common issue for the era: difficulty achieved through repetition rather than enemy AI design. GoldenEye's arsenal remains iconic. The weapon variety is impressive for its time, from silenced pistols to high-caliber rifles, remote mines, timed explosives, and the satisfyingly powerful RCP-90. Bond's signature gadgets also make brief but memorable appearances, such as the laser-equipped wristwatch, used to cut through locks or disable security systems. These touches reinforce the fantasy of stepping into the shoes of 007, even if the game leans more towards action than espionage. GoldenEye also surprises with its vehicle segments, most notably the tank mission through the streets of St. Petersburg. It's a dramatic shift in pace and scale, turning Bond into a one-man armored juggernaut. The sequence remains one of the most memorable set pieces in the Nintendo 64, adding variety and cinematic flair to the campaign while showcasing Rare's ambition at the time. And, of course, we cannot talk about GoldenEye without mentioning its multiplayer, a mode that essentially defined an entire generation of couch gaming. 4-player split-screen matches became legendary. Proximity mines in the facility, remote mines in the caves, odd-job debates, custom loadouts, and even a level of pure fun and chaos almost unmatched even today. It was social gaming at its finest, fast, frantic, and unforgettable. Despite its age, the level design, weapon variety, objective-based structure, and mission pacing continue to be impressive today. GoldenEye's gameplay is a fascinating blend of forward-thinking innovation wrapped in the limitations of its time. Beyond following the broad structure of the 1995 film, GoldenEye presents a very minimalistic approach to storytelling. Most of the narrative context is delivered through pre-mission briefings, written in the style of MI6 dossiers, which helps set the tone but doesn't fully convey the motivations of the characters or the stakes of the plot. Because character interactions are nearly absent, with only a handful of short text prompts and no cinematic cutscenes, players are expected to fill in the gaps either through prior knowledge of the film or by interpreting the mission environments. For a newcomer who hasn't seen the film, the story will feel fragmented and sometimes confusing, as the game relies heavily on external knowledge to connect characters and events. Still, the game does achieve something subtle. It captures the atmosphere of being an MI6 agent, operating alone behind enemy lines. Missions feel like operations, not chapters in a narrative, which reflects the hero's design's philosophy and the technical constraints of the N64. The environments themselves, from the snowy Severnaya base to the haunting statue park, do much of the heavy lifting in communicating tones and stakes, even if the plot itself remains underdeveloped. It's a story that works functionally, enough to support the gameplay, but it was never meant to be a narrative-driven experience. In the context of 1997, this wasn't exactly a flaw as much as a design norm, and GoldenEye compensates with atmosphere where it lacks in storytelling detail. For a 1997 Nintendo 64 title, GoldenEye was a visual masterpiece. Environments remained surprisingly atmospheric, with strong use of color, fog, and geometry to create tension and identity in each mission. From the icy blues of Severnaya to the industrial yellows of the chemical facility, every level has a distinct tone that supports the gameplay. Character models are crude by modern standards, but the texture-based faces were revolutionary at the time and added a surprisingly amount of personality. Enemies react to hits in specific body parts, clutching an arm, staggering, dropping a head. Small details that showed Rare's ambition and helped the world feel more reactive than most shooters of the era. Animation work was equally impressive. Guards flinch, fall, slide, and collapse with variety, reinforcing the feeling of physicality. Muzzle flashes, explosions, and bullet sparks gave the game a visual dynamism few console shooters had achieved. The HUD is simple but effective, styled like spy equipment and readable even on the CRT displays. Weapon models, despite low polygon counts, remain iconic, especially the silent PP7 and the KF7 Soviet and the RIC P90. Level geometry and design is also a standout. Areas like the statue park remain visually striking, not because of the graphical fidelity, but because of composition, atmosphere, and layout. Rare understood how to create memorable spaces with limited hardware. GoldenEye doesn't hold up in a modern sense, but within its context, its visual identity was bold, clear, and foundational, the kind of work that paved the way for the next generation of shooters. GoldenEye's soundtrack remains one of its strongest pillars, a reinterpretation of the classical Bond musical language translated into MIDI instrumentation with surprising finesse. The iconic surf rock meets spy orchestra sound survives the hardware limitations, resulting in tracks that are instantly memorable and perfectly matched to each mission's tone. What stands out most is how adaptive the music feels. Combat sections punch up the intensity with energetic percussion and sharp brass-like steps, while stealthier levels lean into atmospheric tension, echoing the mood of the film while carving out a distinct identity for the game. Sound effects, despite the N64 limitations, are crisp and readable. Gunshots have weight, explosions cut through the mix, and environmental audio, from metallic doors to alarms, help the world feel reactive. The classic silent PP7 sound remains iconic to this day. Character voices are non-existent, but their absence ironically reinforces the game's identity. GoldenEye is a gameplay-first experience, and its soundscape supports that through clarity and simplicity, rather than cinematic flair. GoldenEye is one of those rare games whose legacy far exceeds its mechanics. Not every part of it has aged gracefully, the controls are awkward by modern standards, the AI is inconsistent, and some missions blur the line between challenge and frustration. But none of that diminishes how important this game truly was. GoldenEye proved that first-person shooters could work on consoles, and not just work, they could set new standards. Its level design, mission structure, iconic soundtrack, and attention to detail showed ambition far ahead of its time. Without GoldenEye, the path for Halo, Call of Duty, and so many others would look very different. The game's impact continues today through fan projects, remasters, mods, and even a dedicated 2022 documentary called Golden Era, which explores exactly why this title became a cultural phenomenon. Some games are timeless because they play perfectly even decades later. GoldenEye is timeless for different reasons. It changed the industry, shaped expectations, and proved what console shooters could become. And for that, it remains firmly cemented as one of the most influential games ever made. What about you? Have you played GoldenEye? What's your favorite mission or multiplayer memory? And are you excited for the upcoming 007 First Light? Let us know in the comments. And, as always, thank you for your time.